So we're answering the question, why consultation versus counseling? It's a very good question, right? Because some people use them interchangeable, and we are actually trying to define that there's a difference between one and the other, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there's a number of reasons. First one that comes to mind is because of the third party interference. Insurance companies, lawyers, can happen, especially in relationships that are parting ways. It muddies it a little bit for me. I feel like there's a level of handcuffing where if you're viewing what we do through that lens, then I'm catering to them, the board or the insurance company, not necessarily my client. And
which would be a big difference.
Sure. Yeah, continue on that. A big difference for me. I'm all like, as we process in counseling, yes, it's good that the board's there and it's good that we have insurance companies and all those things. But when it's coming to a relationship that's struggling, I think that counseling may not always be the best modality.
It's a great modality.
It's a great modality inside of some relationships or relationships.
And some others, they need the pointed, direct, I don't want to say advice, but sometimes they're looking for, just tell me how it is. And what's interesting is that's a lot of our counseling, the way we've held our counseling. I think this just takes it to a different level. Without that third-party oversight. Sorry.
You know what you meant.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of Heatherisms in my counseling sessions, but I think that's it. We want to give you more freedom to be able to direct the path of the course of your treatment, and we call it treatment. It would be consultation, right?
Absolutely. And I think there's part of me that's trying to destigmatize it a little bit as well, right? Because you guys can be struggling inside of a relationship. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, right? Let's just start to understand it differently and more aggressively.
Mm-hmm. Relationships are work. They have to be constantly invested within, and then they're always changing. And I know I hate superlatives, but always is very true. One thing we can count on for relationships and over the length of our lifetime is that the way we see and perceive things will change. And so you can embrace that easily for yourself, but can you embrace that easily for your spouse? And so you are 100% correct that you may be struggling right now in your relationship, but there isn't anything indicatively wrong with the relationship itself.
Absolutely. So that was one reason. Other reasons are similarly related. The length of time that couples counseling can take because of limited time of session caps that insurance companies put on for times that you can see or make it really difficult for the amount. It kind of hinders progress in my mind. You know, we should be able to do a 4, 5, 6 hour, a weekend long session or meeting where it's just
and insurance
intense.
Companies won't reimburse for that. They'll give you 45, 60, maybe if you're lucky, a 90-minute session. And sometimes, especially when you're dealing with relationships, not just with the couple, but the whole family system, that's a short amount of time to be able to give everyone a voice to be heard, but then also to process through what is going on within those relationships. And it tends to be more lengthy. And so as a counselor, we're limited to bringing those things to a halt when we just got started.
How many times have you been like 45 minutes into session and like you're getting to the meat finally, and it's like, oh, we'll have another client that's coming out in the waiting room. With intensive consulting, we have plenty of time. Let's go.
We don't have an end time, and that's what's wonderful about this as well, is you get to be the bosses in terms of start time and end time, and we'll make that work for you. We'll make it work so that when you're done processing, we are done processing as well. We've got more flexibility with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there's more freedom.
Freedom is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? What did you see anything else in consulting versus counseling?
I think freedom is the big thing. When we first went into counseling, and I'm going to speak, we worked together for a really long time.
That's a good point. We're not a couple.
No,
Oh, great point.
no, but we're business partners and we've worked together for a really long time. And we found that it requires work for us to make this work
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
And now you throw me for a loop and I can't remember what your question was.
Because we were just wrapping up, but is there any differences between consulting and counseling? And you said you were on freedom, and I agree. It's
Yeah,
up to you guys really to dictate what is your timeline. How much time can you give in a given day to really wanting to spend time and process your relationship with two long-term relational counselors, but not under the counseling umbrella, because we want to open up that freedom for you.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see you in the next segment.